This is the sixth and final video in the Building a Sample Site Plan series. If you have not completed the previous videos, you are encouraged to do so. The files needed to follow along with this video are available for download on the page where this video is found. The files should be saved to the Sandbox subdomain. Let's begin as we have in the previous videos by reviewing the Site Plan Assessment document. You will find that your site plan consists of three main sections: the site description, content architecture, and style guide. The previous two sections were covered in videos 4 and 5. This video focuses on building the style guide. As with the other topics, this topic contains subtopics: the color scheme, typography, navigation, and sketches. We will build each in turn until the style guide section is complete. Before beginning our coding, let's also review a few websites to help us understand why planning our site's style is important. First, go to The Anatomy of an Effective Web Design by Donna Collins. This infographic lays out the importance of color schemes, effective typography, content layout, and using navigation. The second resource is Writing an Interface Style Guide by Gina Bolton. She lays out all of the requirements and reasons for having a guide for following and sums things up with, quote, "making their lives easier and potentially saving time and money," unquote. What else is there to say? Finally, we have the University of Pennsylvania Style Guide. This is the actual style guide for the university. Take a moment and look at it to see how clear it lays things out and describes how pages are to be laid out and styled. Your own style guide would be equally great if you were to use the Penn Guide as your example. Okay, let's begin our own coding by adding the headings for the style guide. Using an H2 with an ID attribute and an H3 heading for each of the four subtopics. Our first topic is the color scheme for our site. Determining a color scheme can be a daunting task. A tool that can help you is Paladin.com. The link to this and all other resources mentioned in this video can be found in the Web Front-End Resources file you were to have reviewed and bookmarked in week 2 of the course. There is not time in this video to cover using the Paladin tool, so I will encourage you to spend some time exploring it on your own. Once you have determined the colors you want to use in your design, you will document them in the color scheme section of the style guide. In order to expose you to many coding options, I will build the color scheme using a simple table. This could also be accomplished using an image of the colors. In any case, your color scheme needs to show an example, also known as a swatch, of the color, provide the codes needed to produce the color, and how or where the color will be used in your website. Remember to provide adequate detail so the guide can be followed. As I build the sample color scheme using the table, I will include some CSS code in line within the cells to display the actual color as a background to the cell. Later, when an external style sheet is added to the web page, the inline CSS will be removed. The next topic is to describe the typography or fonts to be used in the site. As with the color scheme, I will use a table to organize and present this information. If you compare our code to that of the typography section of the University of Pennsylvania Style Guide, you will see that it looks very similar. Next, we turn our attention to navigation. This is a very important topic in the design. If the navigation isn't right, site visitors cannot find the content. We want to describe how it will work, where it will be located, and a picture or sketch of how it will appear. The sketch need not be fancy at this stage, but still meaningful. A sample image of the navigation is included in the Images folder. This image will accompany the written description. Lastly, our plan calls for some sketches showing what a typical content page of our site might look like on a large screen, such as a desktop or laptop computer, a medium-sized screen, a tablet device, and a small screen on a smartphone. As with the navigation image, these need not be masterpieces, but should provide an indication of layout. Paper drawings are acceptable. If you prefer, you could create these sketches using a program and then export the drawings as images. An example of such a program, Mockingbird, is found in the Web Front-End Resources file mentioned earlier. I have prepared 3 such images in the Images folder. To be clear, each of these images will be identified using a heading and describing paragraph when called for. With the content in place, it might be beneficial to a site visitor to add an internal set of links to jump between the various sections of the site plan. In the second video, we added some semantic structures, all of which we have used with one exception. Just below the main element is the aside. An aside was defined earlier as a location for related content to that found in the main element. Find the aside. In it, we will add a heading and a list of links to the 3 sections of the site plan. HTML allows us to create links within a page by pointing an anchor element to an ID value assigned to another element. As we built each of the sections, we added an H2 heading and gave each of these headings an ID. It is to each of these headings that our links will point. With the content added to the plan and the document saved, let us upload and review the document. It is important that when you are building a web page that you review it frequently. Make sure the content looks right. Make sure the content can be read or viewed. Make sure the spelling and grammar are correct. Finally, validate the page to make sure your code is valid. Find and fix any errors that may exist. With this demonstration complete, it is now your responsibility to assemble your own content and build your own site plan to explain and outline the various components of your site, and list the content you will need to populate your site, as well as provide the stylistic guidelines your site will follow. Carefully read and follow all directions related to the site plan and provided grading matrix. Thanks for watching.